what exactly, like, what can you like tell people and like just let them know, like that it's the trustworthy place and they're okay to send it there. You know, there's nothing to worry about.
Yeah, absolutely. So I work directly for PSA. So that's one of the things that some people do ask prior to us merging under and me going to work directly for PSA collectors. We were an authorized dealer that had permission to use the name PSA Canada. That started with Glen Hawdy 23 years ago. So PSA Canada has been in business for 23 years with an impeccable track record. I purchased / took over the business about 5 years ago from Len when the boom really hit. He was doing it, like I said, he did it for almost 20 years and he was ready to move on. So we stepped in and we were an authorized dealer of PSA, but we were a little bit more than that. Like we were our own company, but at the same time we utilized PSA shipping services back and forth. We are fully insured through PSA's policies. We use the name PSA Canada, but we were one of their largest authorized dealers in the world.
Okay.
So when we came, I was going to say it's been 2 years now that we've been under the collector's umbrella. So when you submit to us, it's exactly the same as if you submit to PSA in the U.S., PSA Japan, PSA China. We're all under the collector's umbrella, and we work together.
Okay. No, that's fair enough for me. I mean, it sounds like pretty official. I don't think you can get much more official than that. So.
People ask those questions, and so if you look at us from a standpoint now, we are about 40%, 35 to 40% of the Canadian market that submits cards all come through us. This was prior to the tariff shutdown. So as you can imagine, it's a significant volume that we handle. We ship, 5 to 10,000 cards every week. We've been handling those for the last 2 years.
Okay. And so I guess the next thing would be is, when people are submitting to you, I know there's a little bit difference between the actual form itself. I mean, you have a form, and then there's going to be the deals that PSA have, and also for the Collections Club. Now I noticed that when I go to the website, I know because there's like usually monthly deals that you'll see, but the thing is, when you go to the website from Canada, you can't actually see those monthly deals anymore. They only have like the standard, like I think it was like the bulk rates, the value, and the regular and all that, but it didn't actually specify the monthly ones. Do you know if there's a way that we can actually pull that off of the website without having to go through that whole tariff Q&A?
Yeah. So when you go to we've mirrored the U.S. specials, but we did customize them.
Okay.
So every month what I would do, I would make them more, we would change the specials that were based upon, like we had a baseball special, 1950s, 60s baseball special. I would switch that in Canada, and I did a hockey special for those months. Okay. So it was always the same pricing, the same specials were offered, so it's the same as the TCG. So if you see a Collectors Club special in the U.S. at $16.99 a card, ours is $24.99 a card. If you needed which is the equivalent of $16.99 USD. The other thing is we have a 5-card minimum for everyone that submits to us instead of a 20-card. So it makes it easier for some people that don't meet that threshold. But starting on April 1st again, I've decided, because I've got some of these questions about Collectors Club, you're going to see the exact same, whatever specials offered to anyone in the U.S., you're going to see it on PSA Canada's website. It will just be converted to Canadian dollars.
Okay.
Yeah, so whatever the special is. Now, again, what you're not seeing now is because we don't, in March of this year, we, as a company globally, we don't have specials on TCG, etc.
Okay.
They're just not there. So we simply, we have a lot of cards coming in the door. So one of the ways that we can do to curb that a little bit, because we don't want to get in a position where we have to face, a huge backlog, etc., is if we eliminate specials, you would assume that would curb the demand and slow things down a little bit. But I can tell you from my standpoint at PSA Canada, that has not been the case.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, so like you say, you get plenty of orders throughout just, I guess, maybe even this month during the tariffs. You say that do you think you've had increased amount of people submitting, or I don't know if you maybe had people concerned still, or?
Yeah, so like I said, we're about 35% of the Canadian market. So now my assumption is we will, again, it's been, 2 or 3 weeks now since the actual shutdown. So I think we'll probably be, again, there'll be some people that will just wait this out. But I think we'll be at 80 to 90%.
Okay.
Yeah, so again, one thing for us doing this, as PSA Canada, we were the largest submitter to PSA globally.
Okay.
Prior to our merger. So when you submit cards to us, it's exactly the same. You're fully insured from the time we receive the cards until we get the cards back to you. We're processing orders daily. We ship 2 times a week to PSA in the U.S., which is great. So sometimes someone asks me if there's any delays in the process. Like, oh, if I'm going to have to ship to you, then you got to ship. Is that going to create time to get my cards back? And the answer is no. One thing that we have, which gives us a little bit of an advantage, I guess you could say, is you shipped prior to the tariff issues.
I did. Actually, I was in that case too.
Yeah, so if you ship direct to the U.S., I think the processing time, by the time your box was received in Santa Ana, California, till the time it was actually, so you'd get the notification it was received, but you didn't see that in your account for up to 4 weeks. Like, it was about 3 to 4 weeks for most things. That's starting to get down a little bit, I do believe. But with us, when we receive your order, we ship it off. Our boxes are getting open right away. So let's say you ship to us and it adds another couple days, and we have another couple days. It adds 4 or 5 days on the process. When we ship our boxes and they arrive, they're getting opened immediately. So you're beating that back. So I don't want to say you're getting the cards back faster, but you're definitely not going to face any delays.
Okay. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think that was one concern for me as well. Is I was worried that you'd be paying more for shipping to you, and then you'd have to deal with the tariffs, and then you'd have to deal with the tariffs coming back. So that was
absolutely.
Yeah, that was a very big thing for me, and I actually did my first submission. I think it was beginning of January, and then when all that stuff came out, I was freaking out like, oh crap, like I'm gonna have to pay all these tariffs now, and which I think I might still have to just because I sent myself, but if I just submitted with you guys, I probably wouldn't have ever had to deal with that, right? So
absolutely, you do pay with PSA Canada. We are a Canadian company. You do pay HST on the grading service. Yeah. So that would be, you are subject to that anyways, coming back from PSA, but 9 times out of 10, customs might not charge you that. It might slip through the cracks. Right. But with us, you pay it. But you never have to worry about tariffs, customs, duties, anything like that. Also, for peace of mind standpoint, you're fully insured. It's a lot easier to ship to us in Halifax today than it is to ship to Santa Ana, California for a customer. And when we open in August, September of this year, you'll be shipping everything to Mississauga.
Okay. And that sounds great to me because I'll actually be able to go in person.
100%. You'll be able to drop your orders in person 5 days a week at our office.
That's awesome. And actually, I have a question about that. What do you know, like the time frame of like when you guys are actually going to be moving the office?
Yeah, we're looking at August, September launch.
September. Okay.
Yeah. And what we'll have then too is we'll have our own online submission center. So when you log into PSAcard.com, you're going to log in to PSAcard.com. If you are a Canadian, it will just flip you to the Canadian OSC. So all the features that you have on the website, doing your submissions, it's not going to be paper form. Everything is exactly like the U.S. And you get to ship your cards to Mississauga.
Oh, that's gonna be great.
Yeah,
I love that.
We're gonna do a lot of the process there. The grading will still take place in the U.S. But like I said, you're fully insured from the time we receive it when we get it back. So it's going to be it's a game changer for Canadians. It's going to take a lot of the friction points away from crossing the border.
Absolutely.
And it's going to make things, and it's going to be cheaper. You know, if you want to fully insure your package through like an overnight FedEx, I mean, what's it going to cost you? A 20-card order is probably going to cost you fully insured for up to like say a 10K value. It's probably going to cost you like $100, $150. If you want to buy that, a lot of people will ship with no insurance. They won't have all this, but you can play that game for so long until someone gets bit. But
Yep.
Are you familiar with tariffs and how they work? Like with
Honestly, no, and I haven't really tried to learn it yet. Because I'm trying to just not think about it, to be honest.
The thing is to get the message out there, and this is why it's so important. Why we did what we did was for the customers, nothing for the company. The easiest thing that we could do is just keep our online submission center on, let people keep submitting. But how the tariffs work, and this is, like, we have a full legal team. I've been dealing with this since November, preparing for the potential of this.
Oh, okay.
So,
Nice.
so let's say that you, Ryan, you have a 20-card order, and you submit it at the value service level, $500 max declared value per card. The declared value on your packages is 10K. When the tariff is in place, we would be the importer of record. So you go to the post office, you ship your package to us. The value on that package is 10K. Us, as a company, as the importer, would be obligated to pay the tariff, and then we would bill you back. And the tariff is 25% on the value of the package. So all of a sudden, we would process your order. We received it. Yep, we send your bill. You get 20 cards at, let's say, $20 a card. Your bill's $400, $60 shipping, $460 plus $2,500 USD tariff charge.
Oh my God.
Can you imagine? And then now shipping back to you, you're subject with the retaliatory tariffs that Canada has, another 25%. So your package that you put a declared value at 10 grand, now you have 5,000 in tariffs to pay.
Oh, that's horrible.
It's crazy. It's no one would ever submit, and so but the rules based upon currently, if you submit your order, you're obligated to pay the GST component on the grading service only, and that's when people get caught up. They're like, "Oh no, the tariff is just on the grading service." No, the tariff is on the value. If you had a brother that lived in Chicago and you had a painting on your wall and you said, "You know what? It's worth 10 grand. I'm going to send it. I'm giving it to my brother. I'm just shipping it across the border." When your brother received that, he'd be the importer. He'd be responsible for a 25% tariff on that. He didn't sell anything. There's no transaction, but it's the value of the goods.
That is crazy.
It is, and that's why, like, and trading cards and Pokemon cards are listed. They're listed on the retaliatory tariffs coming back into Canada. So once the U.S. one's on April 2nd, if this happens, it will be on both sides. So we use a TIB, a temporary import bond process, when we ship across the border and back. So fortunately for us as a company, we have PSA Canada. We can get those cards. They're all shipped on the TIB. They come back, and we're not avoiding or not paying. We're not subject to the tariffs because it's a temporary import bond.
Okay.
It does cost us as a company more money to do it with the TIB, but that's something we're happy to absorb so we can continue to offer our services to Canada.
Okay. No, that really explains it.
Yeah, and
Wow.
honestly, like I said to people at first when they told me that, I remember saying to one of our lawyers, I was like, you got this wrong. There's no way this is how this is going to work.
Yeah, cause I know, like, yeah, that's the big question. Like, no one wants to really submit because of the tariffs, and me too. Like, so actually, for someone that's already submitted, and they sent it, do you have any recommendations, or maybe like I guess a way to try to avoid some of the extra pay?
Any orders that are in house now, we've worked and we have a process in place to return those. We're returning Canadian goods back to the customer.
Okay.
So we've worked really hard to come up with something. Again, not to circumvent the law or anything along those lines. But
No.
I feel quite confident that we're going to be able to get our orders back to customers and they won't be affected.
Okay.
Is that to say that someone's not going to... That's... The majority of customers would not be affected by it.
Okay.
And if someone was nervous and they said, look, I'm just nervous about the situation with the tariffs and they wanted us to hold their order, anyone could reach out to me and I'd be happy to assist.
Okay. So I'll put that in too.
Yeah.
Let's see.
The one thing too is this is every day. It's changing and we're learning. It's like forever evolving. Like I don't know what's going to happen next.
I know, right? It's just you see another tariff, and then you just see another tariff being put on something else, and then you just don't know.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I think I had one last question. I'm not exactly.
I can bring up your email just to see you.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem at all. Yeah, no problem. I'm tech challenged, and if you would have seen yesterday, it was a nightmare for me. Based on the already released information, we know that we cannot submit cards ourselves to PSA in living in Canada. You will be our only legit approved option when submitting. Some people are still concerned with working with a middleman to submit cards, citing worries of packages having too many hands on deck handling your package. So besides submitting to PSA Canada, yes, you can submit to our authorized dealer network, which is in Canada. We have 13 authorized dealers. So you can submit direct to them as well, but they are middlemen. They are authorized dealers that have their own insurance policies. All the cards that are submitted to them will be submitted to us at PSA Canada as well. But if it makes it easier, like I was an authorized dealer. I absolutely love our authorized dealers that we have because they make it more economical for a lot of people. If you drop into a store, if we use Mint Ink as an example, you can drop in and pay. If you ship one card to me, you're going to pay $34.99 plus $35 shipping plus tax. It's going to be about $100. You can drop into one of our authorized dealers and they bake the shipping costs into it. So I think they might charge $32 for one card. So you're saving like $70.
Okay. And the authorized dealers, do they have a list on PSA for actual author? Okay, I think I saw it before.
PSA, if you go to psacard.com and you click our dealer directory, you just put in Canada, it will list all our dealers. So part of my goal was to have authorized dealers in every province. So I'm just working right now with, once we land this one in Newfoundland, I've got another one that's approved. We're just waiting for the final in Prince Edward Island.
Wow.
I've got, we have the Northwest Territories. Our first dealer is going to be approved there.
Holy.
It's small. He's small. He's mighty. He's very keen on it. So it's going to be great. Then we will have an authorized dealer. And again, some people just simply don't want to go through the shipping process, and I get it, right? Like, I'm so used to it. Today we shipped out, I think it was 12,000 cards, with a DV, a value of about $5 or $6 million. So I'm used to shipping those things, but I get if someone's not used to shipping and you take your prized possession, whether it's worth $50, $100, $1,000, it can be nerve-wracking. You got to ship it to us, and we got to notify you that it arrived, and then we ship it to the U.S., and then they ship it back to us, and then we ship it back to you. Whoa! Some people just be like, I don't want that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Where if you do use an authorized dealer, it's kind of a little bit out of sight, out of mind. You drop it off to them, they let you know when it's back. So.
That's perfect. Okay. I think one last thing. This is gonna be my last question. So nothing else. I think when I was looking at the form, I noticed that paper form. Let's say you have like a collector's account. Do you have to put in your like an account number or anything like that just to kind of confirm like who is going to be going to, and also like when you're submitting the cards through you, like, I guess it would be the same as the US, but I was just thinking how it would upload into the system.
Yes,
but it sounds
so
like it's
we more or less do that work for you. So when you submit to us, we have to enter it in at psacard.com. So we have a team here that all day, every day, they just enter cards. So if we receive your 20 card order, so everything that's a 20 card order and above goes on its own submission.
How much was it? 20? How much was it? 25.
20 and above. If you have an order that's 20 cards, it's on its own submission. If you send us 3 cards, 4 cards, obviously from a logistics standpoint, we can do. Say we might do a 100 card submission that has 20 people's orders. The they're all numbered 1 to 100, and in my 5 years, we've never ever had a card that was mixed up. So
Okay.
it's tested and tried and good. So
Okay. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, that's. I think that's everything I have, question wise and concerns. Even for myself, it really. I feel better about it.
like right now with PSA Canada, we have me. We're hiring 20 people in Mississauga, and we're in that process right now. So it's been hard for me. I'm keeping up, but the amount, as you can imagine, we had 3,100 customers like that actually submit regularly to us, and now we've just tripled that to me. So having one person with 10,000 plus customers, it made it difficult. So when I get the opportunity to speak to someone like yourself, it's great because you can relay the message out there, and my cell phone, my email is out there. It's on the website.
Right.
I don't answer all the time, I will admit that, but if you leave me a message or send me an email, I'll get back to you. And I appreciate, sincerely, like yourself, taking the time to help us spread the word. And because so many people, I find on social media in general, the narrative can just get switched around and why we're doing things. And I can tell you the only reason that PSA did this is to protect the customer.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the only reason. Like, we don't want to do this. And I was like, I don't want to turn the switch off. I love when you say, hey, I'm submitting direct. Awesome. Perfect. As long as you got the process down, keep doing that. That is great. Now we just tripled our workload here, but we're doing it because we have to. Can you imagine customers getting cards back and paying 25% tariffs on the declared value? It would just be a complete nightmare.
I couldn't imagine. It's just too much money to really have to worry about the long run, and you're just honestly, I think if you're really gonna be paying with the tariffs, you're already paying for literally the maybe even what you're hoping to make out of the card. If
completely.
So it's almost pointless.
100%. I just I would recommend to nobody submit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then if you submitted a big card, let's say you had a beautiful, like you had a Michael Jordan 86 flare that you thought was really good, and you put the value down at 10 grand, and it comes back trim or altered or fake, but the declared value was 10K. So now you're going to pay the grading fee plus the return shipping and a $2,500 tariff
with the fake card.
Oh, I would not want to be the customer service rep to get that call.
That's horrible. Oh, that's the worst luck. But yeah, I get it. That's insane. Well,
and you have my email, and you have my cell number. I think is on there.
Yes.
On my email as well. So if you ever need, or if you got other specific questions, shoot me a text message anytime, and I'll get back to you right away.
Thanks again for your time. I appreciate it, and have a good rest of the day. And I'll keep you posted with anything, and I'll let you know if I have more questions.
Great, thanks, man.
All right.
It was nice meeting you.
Absolutely, Brad. Take care.
See you around.
Bye.